Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And how do you drive your EDC nuts? A lot of times people carry a small pair of pliers or possibly in this case maybe an adjustable wrench. And that's what the video's about, is the incorporation of that and the questions that it creates. So as far as a Phillips and slotted fastener EDC tool, this one's always fun. Little tiny snap-on with the reversible bit, little, light, comes in different colors. But as far as a pair of pliers, now of course Leatherman is a good solution, but if you were going with a dedicated pair of pliers, and I lean that way. I'd rather have a good set of pliers and a real knife. A Leatherman is just handy because you don't lose the individual pieces. But here are four common ones. The Knipex Cobra in its smallest form, the Fujiya smallest adjustable wrench. This is all steel here. The Knipex smallest plier wrench. Very thin jaws too. The Snap-on smallest slip joint plier. Right there. You can see this is the 4.4 ACP. So if you had to have one, or if you were just going to grab one, toss it in your pocket, or your bag, what would it be and why? Now, the main concerns, well, one is weight. This is the lightest at about 60 grams. Actually, I can turn this on and show you. The range is not huge. If I put this here, this is going to be the heaviest one right away. I put that on. I've got 106 grams. The lightest is this at about 60 grams. This one is going to be 68 grams, and then this one is 69 grams. So there's about a 10 gram difference between these here, and then about a half again as much to jump up to some heavy metal in that adjustable wrench. Another thing is, what is the maximum jaw? Now, generally, it doesn't matter that much unless you're working on plastic fasteners, simply because you don't have the leverage with a short handle to really turn anything that large. But there it is. So these two, I think I could, operate that at about the same size there. If you go to the plier wrench, it's definitely going to be smaller. Not way smaller, but definitely something noticeable. If I go to the largest setting here and then open it up, I could grab something, but because of the angles here, it'd probably be slipping out. So I'm going to call it about right there is functional, hanging on to something which is very similar to the plier wrench. Another thing is, if you're actually operating it, the plier wrench and the Cobra have the ability essentially to slip a little bit. So if you can grab a fastener, and that may come into play with small handles or constricted environments or something like that. Once I get this adjusted, I can literally slide it. You see that? So I can crank it forward. Both of them do that. I don't find these two as easy to adjust because they do have a kind of a limited area, especially this one, that it operates within. So you have to get it at roughly the right click, which means if you're moving around to different sized fasteners, it can be a bit of a challenge, especially if you're working in a blind area, which sometimes you are with the small tools, although that's not why you have EDC tools. You have EDC tools because it's better than not having a tool, and it's a real tool. And then, of course, the small slip joints. That's just such a natural human movement, and pliers definitely are an extension of the hand. That's the whole point. Something like this, I've grown up with them. I'm really comfortable with them, but it is larger. There's a lot of extra jaw there, so you might have to work out here if there's some constriction, a wall or whatever. However, you can easily move it blindly and grab, and then it allows you to operate the tool without having to maintain any additional force on the handles. Now, of course, these, if you get them adjusted right, just the design, you can actually just apply pressure to one handle, so that can make a difference. A little tough to show you here, but it'll stay on. Same with the plier wrench. These can operate similar to tweezers because they're such a fine tip. Similar here. If there's a good match on the ends of the jaws. Same here. Can see that. So that's another thing, first aid applications, etc., or just fixing things. This doesn't work that well because you can't necessarily hold it with the same strength, but it's not worthless. Anyway, this is a neat design. I could see it being a supplement. It does give you a lot more leverage. It also allows you to operate the tool, with very limited dexterity. You don't have to be able to grab a handle. This requires both handles. These you might be able to get some closure with one handle, but overall. So the question now is, if you have these or a different one, you could suggest, what's the one to go to? I know that there are tons of people who they head right to the small plier wrench. There are larger versions. Some people, once they start using these, they jump up to the next size, figuring, yeah, we'll call it EDC, but this is so much more of a tool than these guys, but they weigh more, they're larger. Anyway, share your thoughts. Or would you even consider carrying a classic adjustable wrench? They do make titanium versions, not Fujiya that I know of, but some companies for super light. And there are times where this really is the thing that works. So there's a potential EDC lineup. Let me know what you would prefer. And with that, Doc out.